Good evening. Happy Thursday. This is Talking Sports with Evan. After a week off last week, I'm here to bring you another edition of Talking Sports with Evan and have a lot to talk about here tonight. The Milwaukee Brewers taking on the New York Mets in game 3. We're tied up at nothing going into the bottom of the 7th inning. Oh, my blood pressure is going high watching and paying attention and listening to the Brewer baseball right now. They had a big 8th inning last night to take the lead. And right now, as I said, we're tied nothing going into the bottom of the 7th. And the Brewers need somebody to be a hero. It's so far this series, it's been the young guys, your Jackson Cheerio and your Bryce Terang and your Garrett Mitchells of the world. They need the Reese Hoskins, the William Contreras, the Willie Adames of the world to step up and do something. The kids are doing a great job. We need the veterans, the team leaders to step up. And Nick Mears just got a big, huge strikeout to end the 7th. The Mets half of the 7th, fired up going into the dugout. Hopefully that carries over to the Brewers offense and they get some runs on the board in the bottom of the 7th to get the lead going into the 8th. And it looks like Freddie Peralta, who controversially was pulled from the game in game 1 after the 4th inning, and he's warming up in the bullpen. So we might see some Freddie Peralta in the 8th before we give way to Devin Williams in the 9th, hopefully with the lead. And the Brewers got their first playoff win since 2021. Game 1 of 2021 divisional round last night. Now got that monkey off the bat. Let's continue to carry it on here tonight against the New York Mets. So, as you can tell, going to be talking some Milwaukee Brewers. I'm going to talk, hopefully, about a Brewer win, but we're going to be talking some Milwaukee Brewers. Also going to be talking Green Bay Packers and their loss against the Vikings, preview their game against the Rams, and give my thoughts on the fact that Jordan Love played on Sunday. And I know I saw a lot of people questioning his ability, if he should have been playing or not. And I even saw some saying that it should be Malik Willis's job now because he's outperformed Jordan Love and he got a better arm than Jordan Love, yada, yada, yada. But I'm going to give my thoughts on Jordan Love and him playing on Sunday. Because I make a comment and it's automatically, well, you're blind if you don't feel the way I do. It's okay to have differing opinions. It really is. You don't need to attack people because they have a differing opinion than you. And going to finalize the show talking some Wisconsin Badgers. Lost 2 in a row, got steamrolled by Alabama. I guess it was expected to get steamrolled by Alabama. I get that. But then they go into halftime against USC with a 21-10 win, and they get completely steamrolled in the second half. And we're about a year and a half into the Luke Fickell era, and I think it's time for me to give my State of the Badger report. State of the Badgers report, I think it's time for me to give at this point. And that's actually what I'm going to start with. Jake Bauers just fouled one off. Mets have a new pitcher in there. Jake Bauers pinch hitting. It's a 1-2 count against Jake Bauers. But Wisconsin Badgers. Luke Fickell took over last season, before last season. He was the new hire head coach. Paul Chryst got fired mid-season about 2 years ago, actually, to this day, almost. Because this is year 2 for Fickell. So, yeah, it would have been about 2.5. It would have been, to this day, 3 seasons ago that Paul Chryst got fired. And Jim Leonard took over as the interim coach before Luke Fickell ultimately got the job. And my comments really aren't just an indictment on Luke Fickell. The move from Paul Chryst had to be made. Moving on from Paul Chryst, and the Brewers have the lead. There we go. Here we go. Bowers. There we go. So, sorry about that. Jake Bowers just hit a solo home run in the bottom of the seventh to give the Brewers a 1-0 lead. But back to the Badgers. The program had stalled big time. Basically, coming out of COVID. Badgers did okay, but coming out of COVID, 2021, 2022, the program had really stalled. It did, especially 2022. And it seemed like the Badgers were not getting up for games. They were being outcoached, outperformed, not playing well in certain spurts of football, and not really playing good complementary football. And it kind of bottomed out after an embarrassing loss to former Badger coach Brett Bielema down in Illinois. It was time to make some changes. And at the time, and the Brewers go back-to-back with Sal Frelick hitting a solo home run. Yes, you heard that right. Sal frickin' Frelick with a home run to put the Brewers up 2-0. There we go. Sorry, I just blew out your eardrums who are watching and listening to the show. But for this disclaimer, I have the Brewer game on in the background, watching the game as I'm giving my thought on sports. And, of course, when I'm talking Wisconsin Badgers, the Brewers bats decide to come alive, I guess, I should say. But I enjoyed the hire of Fickell. I thought it was a good choice. I did not like his hiring of Mike Tressel to run the defense. I don't like a base 3-3-5 defense, especially in the Big Ten Conference. I know the college football is moving away from the traditional Big Ten football, but the 3-3-5, it just, to me, it's not good enough. And it's been showing during the Fickell era that the 3-3-5 is not good enough. I like the hiring of Lungo, and I liked what Lungo did in North Carolina with the receivers that he had, the running backs that he had. He was able to make his throw-first offense work with the personnel that he had. And I was excited to see, after seeing what he did with North Carolina, I think one of the backs is in the NFL now in Denver. I was excited to see what he would do with Braylon Allen as his tailback, how he'd incorporate Braylon's power running ability with the passing attack, the air, quote unquote, air raid attack. I was excited to see what it was going to look like. And unfortunately, Lungo's offense does not look good. 2 years in a row, the starting quarterback has gotten injured, and the offense just does not look good at all. Even with the starters in there, the offense looks like it's struggling. Year and a half in, and I have significant concerns. I don't know if it's Paul Chryst guys that are still holding things back, and let's see what happens when it's strictly Luke Fickell's guys. I don't know if it's the wrong offensive coordinator for the job. I don't know if it's the wrong defensive coordinator for the job. Well, I kind of feel it's the wrong defensive coordinator for the job, but that's a whole other story. But I have big concerns of this Badger program right now. I really do. Because you look at the program. What is it that the Badgers do well? What is one thing that the 2023 and now the 2024 Badger football teams did well? There's nothing. There's really nothing to hold your hat on to talk about what the Badger football team does well. They do a lot not well. As a lifelong Badger fan, I grew up in Madison. It's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to see the Badgers in the current state of affairs that they're in. Badger teams in the past, under Barry Alvarez, early days under Paul Chryst, under Brett Bielema, you could hold your hat on something they did well. Either a power running game, good tight ends, strong offensive line you can lean on, a quarterback that's not going to make mistakes and Brooks Bollinger and was a playmaker, a good running quarterback in Mike Samuel, a stout defense, good special teams, strong coaching. There's always something you can say that if they're lacking in other areas, there's something they did extremely well. And I don't see it anywhere. And going into the USC game, there's one thing I wanted to see. I was not expecting a Badger win, but I wanted to see the Badgers be competitive for 4 quarters. Come out fired up and finish the game fired up. That is a problem I have with the Wisconsin Badger football team right now. They don't play 4 quarters of football. They really don't. And most of last year, they would come out extremely flat and pick it up in the second half. This year, they've a couple times come out very strong in the first half. USC, South Dakota, come out extremely flat in the second half, which South Dakota they won, USC they couldn't. Alabama, they came out fired up in the first quarter. That quickly went away. Western Michigan, Central Michigan, East, whatever Michigan team they played in week 1, again, came out extremely flat and needed a big fourth quarter to get the win. They don't play consistent football. They don't play consistent football. They don't do anything extremely well. And these next several weeks, starting with Purdue, and we should beat Purdue. The Badgers should beat Purdue. That is a no-brainer. The Badgers should beat Purdue. But what I want to see is the Badgers bury Purdue. Purdue is not a good team. They are a very bad college football team. They just fired their offensive coordinator. What I want to see is the Badgers have a statement game, play 4 quarters of football, and just dominate the line of scrimmage like we used to do and put points on the board and show them no mercy. That's what I want to see. And if we can't do that against Purdue, I think you can kiss this bowl streak goodbye. Because this game, and I believe the next couple games are games that the Badgers should win. The Badgers should do well with. So we need to see them show some fire, show some emotion, or I'm really going to start questioning Luke Fickell. Because you're the head coach. How do you not have these guys ready to play? You don't have them ready to play Alabama. You don't have them ready to play Nebraska. You don't have them ready to play Illinois. You don't have them ready to play Western Michigan or whatever Michigan school that is. You don't have them ready to play Buffalo. These are teams, other than Alabama, Alabama you should be fired up for the chance that you're playing one of the top teams in the country. But the other teams I mentioned, these are teams that you should easily throw the football out and dominate. Your Western Michigan, your Illinois, your Nebraskas, your whatever. You should dominate those games. And if I don't start seeing, and it's to me right now, it's not about wins and losses at this point for the Badger football program. As much as I want to see the Badgers win every game. But it's not about wins and losses necessarily. It's about stacking success on top of success. It's about playing competitive football for 4 quarters. It's about creating an identity which you have not had now in almost 4 years of football. You've not had an identity in almost 4 years. Very concerning. That's what I want to see over the next several weeks as we're in Big Ten season now. Is I want to see some pride, some fire, some emotion from this Badger program, or it's going to be very tough going into the offseason. And if Fickle wants to stick around, he's going to have some tough choices to make on his coaching staff in the offseason. That's my thought on the Wisconsin Badgers at this point. Moving on to the Green Bay Packers. And those watching my show, Brewers are currently up 2-0 in the 7th and have runners on first and second. Perkins just walked, and now we're going to see what William Contreras can do. A base hit by William Contreras is going to likely score 2 with Bryce Terang and Blake Perkins, a 2 on base right now. But to the Green Bay Packers. Should Jordan Love have played on Sunday? My easy answer is yes. I don't think the issues that Jordan Love was having was necessarily because he wasn't healthy enough to play. I think it was a combination of he hadn't played for 2 weeks, and this is his first time in his career that he's playing through an knee injury. So he's wearing a brace. He hasn't worn braces before. It was kind of like week 1 of the season all over again. It really was. It was like week 1 all over again when you're working out the kinks, working out the rust, because nobody plays in preseason anymore. And the first 2 quarters of Jordan Love, very tough to watch. It was very tough to watch. Some of his decision makings he made, his throws were a little bit off target. But come third quarter, come fourth quarter, we saw the Jordan Love that we paid the huge contract to. Ultimately, to me, win or lose, playing Jordan Love was the right decision. First of all, he's a better quarterback than Malik Willis. The reason why Malik Willis looked so good over the course of the 2 games that he started is Matt LaFleur put a game plan together to play to Malik Willis' strengths. They didn't throw the ball much. They relied on the running game, and that's why they got wins. Jordan Love, you can open the playbook up. There were plays that the Packers are running with Malik Willis that if the Packers start running with Jordan Love, the Packers are going to have some humongous chunk plays coming up. Now, with Christian Watson injured, it's going to take a little bit away from that. But there is some plays there with the Packers offense that should be available now with Jordan Love back out there with his ability to stretch the field. Going into the Rams game, Jordan Love had that first game back out under his belt. He got better as the game went on. He should go in with the Rams and be able to move the football and attack. And the Rams, especially in the middle of the field, are not very good. Their middle linebacker, not very good in the passing game. So between Tucker Kraft and Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks, the Packers should be able to exploit the middle of the field a little bit. If you would have sat Jordan Love with the Vikings, you would have lost to Minnesota still with Malik Willis starting. I'm sorry, but Malik Willis was not going to beat the Vikings. Jordan Love gave you a chance. Malik Willis was not going to beat the Vikings. If you would have sat Jordan Love against the Vikings, you would have had an uncompetitive loss. And then you're going up against the LA Rams, going through all the pain and problems that you saw in that first quarter and a half, first half of football with Jordan Love. The uncertainty, the not playing how he's capable of playing. And I think what really flipped the switch for Jordan Love is he went back, he ran for a couple yards and got tackled, got hit on the knee, got up, was limping a little bit, and he was fine. After that, Jordan Love seemed to be fine. He was making some great throws. He was making some great reads down the field, and there's a couple that I would like to have back. And the thing is, Jordan Love is more Brett Favre than Aaron Rodgers. He's going to take more chances down the field with his arm than Aaron Rodgers would. He's more Brett Favre. I think him wearing the Brett Favre jersey to show respect to Brett Favre, who just came out that he had Parkinson's at a congressional hearing talking about him stealing money. Probably not the best place to do it, but he did nonetheless. Him wearing a Favre jersey was kind of, I guess, symbolic there with him having the 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. When you go back and look at those interceptions, though, probably the worst one to me was to Watson, because he basically threw Watson a hospital ball. And that's now why Watson, part of the reason why he got hurt. You put the ball in a bad spot, and yes, the linebacker made a great play. That was probably, to me, the worst interception. Interception number 2, Luke Musgrave tried to catch a ball that was not intended to him, went through his hands, hit the Romeo Doubs in the chest, went through his, bounced off his chest, went through his hands, and then into the arms of a defensive back. I can't really fault Love for that. He threw the ball to the right spot. Unfortunately, Luke Musgrave kind of screwed things up a little bit. And then his third interception, in the heat of the moment, it looks like a completely boneheaded, stupid throw down the field. It was just a bad throw. It wasn't a bad read. It was just a bad throw. When you look at the replay, Love the quarterback, right? Harrison Smith, safety, blitzing hard off the edge, pretty like unblocked. That's Jordan Love's man in that protection scheme too. They had 5 guys to block 5 guys. 1 guy going to come free. Harrison Smith. Okay, I got to get this ball out. Now, Dontavion Wicks is one-on-one coverage on the outside. I got to put. He's going to give me the best chance to catch that football. He put it too far inside. Love put it here. He should have put it here. If he puts it more towards the sideline, more towards the pylon, he's, 1, going to give his receiver a chance to make the catch. And 2, if his receiver can't make the catch, it's going to be close enough to out of bounds that nobody's going to come back by and get it. If Wicks couldn't get it, nobody would, the way that the ball should have been thrown. Instead, he put it too far here instead of over here. He threw it more towards the post rather than the pylon. And Love, I'm sure, would love to have that one back. But Jordan Love made some great throws in this game. I hear people and I see people and I witness people question his arm strength and that he has a weak arm and he can't make whatever. Some of the throws he makes in a game, I don't understand how you can watch him make some of the throws he made against the Vikings, including the touchdown that made it possible to kick an onside kick to try to win the game. I mean, to try to get the ball back to try to win the game. That final touchdown pass that Jordan Love had was an incredible throw in the end zone. He had an incredible touchdown to Wicks, an incredible touchdown to Reed. Love does some really great things with the football. Like, I don't understand how you can watch some of the watch the Cowboy playoff game too, for example, and question his throwing ability. I just don't get it. I think he's a great thrower of the football, and I think it was the right choice to start Jordan Love, and I think it was the right choice to get him out there against the Vikings. Now, with that said about the Viking game, I have concerns. Special teams is a problem. Field goal 4 straight games, Narveson has missed a kick. And I know one of the kicks against the Titans didn't count because it got called back for a penalty, but he missed 2 in 2 against the Vikings. And if you make both of those kicks, now I'm not going to say you're guaranteed a win, but that's enough points for the difference in the game right there. If you make both of those kicks, got to do a better job in the kicking game. The punting game's been great, but the kicking game, the field goal kicking, not good. And the pass rush. Week 1 and week 2, I give you a mulligan. You're going up against quarterbacks that can run the football extremely well, put a lot of pressure on your defense, and you want to contain them in the pocket because they're not very good at throwing the football from the pocket. So I get that. That's the mulligan. Tennessee, they dominated up front. 8 sacks. They just completely dominated up front against Tennessee. Minnesota, pass rush disappeared again. And Sam Darnold is not a running threat. He's not a guy. He can extend plays a little bit. I know he did run for a couple first downs against Green Bay, but Darnold is not a guy you have to be worried about running around the backfield like you do a Jalen Hurts or Anthony Richardson. He's just not. And I don't understand why they can't get better pressure on the quarterback. Rashawn Gary has 1 sack on the year. Since Rashawn Gary had a huge game Thanksgiving in Detroit, he's been virtual non-factor. In the playoffs, he was not a factor. Down the stretch, he was a non-factor. He's been a non-factor this season. Very concerning to me. The bull rush isn't working. Figure something else out, Rashawn Gary. The Packers are paying you a lot of freaking money to put pressure on the quarterback and force turnovers by either forcing the quarterback to fumble the ball when you hit him, when you sack him, or make bad decisions in the passing game that leads to interceptions. That is Rashawn Gary's job, and he's not doing his job. At one point in the game on Sunday, the center and the left guard had as many tackles as Rashawn Gary did at one point in that game. Now, Rashawn Gary had a big tackle on Aaron Jones. I think on the Vikings' final drive where they turned it over on downs. But we can't have somebody that we're paying that much freaking money to, like Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark, not show up at all. We can't have that. If the Packers want to be a true Super Bowl contending team, which I think they're talented enough to do, we need Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Preston Smith playing like we pay them to play. Lucas Van Ness is still learning how to be an NFL pass rusher. We see spurts of him getting pressures on the quarterback, making the quarterback's life a living hell. He almost forced a first quarter interception on the opening drive against the Vikings. Unfortunately, Isaiah McDuffie just couldn't catch it, but he's showing some splash plays. Ingambare, he's probably the best pass rusher the Packers have right now. He's the only one really making much of an impact rushing the passer. It's frustrating, and those two guys who I just mentioned, Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary, need to play better. They have to play better. There's no other way around it. They have to play better. That's just the end of the story. Back to some positives. Xavier McKinney, looking to be one of the best free agent signings since Charles Woodson. Looking to be one of the best free agent signings since Woodson and Reggie White. 4 games, 4 interceptions. He has been everywhere on the field, making plays happen, intercepting footballs, being basically doing what we're paying him to do. Bullard, the rookie, has played really well at times. But linebacker need to be better. Defensive line, especially the pass rush, need to be better. And with the Rams coming up, the Rams have a statue at quarterback in Matt Stafford. Now, Stafford can still gunsling it around, but they have a statue in Matt Stafford. They have a offensive line that's not very good. They are missing their two top wide receivers in Puka and Cooper, Cup and Puka. Those guys are out. This is a game the defense should feast. The defensive line should get pressure on Stafford, force Stafford to make boneheaded decisions and get turnovers and get interceptions. This is the game the Packers defense needs to make things right in their pass rushing abilities and their coverage abilities. So I think the Packers should beat the Rams quite handedly. It's just a matter of doing it. And I expect Reed and Wicks to come out and have very great games for the Packers. The running game should be strong, and Jordan Love should be able to find Wicks, Reed, and Tucker Kraft for some big chunk plays too. But that's my prediction. The Packers are going to get the win. And now the Brewers in the bottom of the eighth inning, up 2-0. Willie Adames just struck out. He's been non-existent this postseason. That's a little bit frustrating. But now we got Gary Sanchez, Freddie Peralta, and criticize Pat Murphy if you'd like. Game one, I don't have a problem with him pulling Freddie Peralta when he did. Freddie Peralta, fifth inning numbers are not good this year. He struggled to hold leads. He struggled third time through the order. I don't have a problem with them pulling Freddie Peralta. Guys just had to do their job, and they did. The Jackson Cheerio let one get off his glove after the first out, which led to a double. And then Joel Piampis couldn't cover first base. He was slow off the mound and couldn't cover first base, and he couldn't turn around and see Tyrone Taylor sprinting home. And it was just lazy baseball. If Piampis does his job covering first base, turn around, the Brewers are likely winning game one, and yesterday's win is celebration time instead of today being a winner-take-all elimination game, which, as I said, the Brewers are currently winning 2-0 with Gary Sanchez just grounding out to the pitcher, and that's going to bring up the second out of the inning. And I'm trying to remember who's batting because I know they made a couple changes. So game two, I think Murphy managed beautifully. I think he was perfect with how he managed game two. Don't really have any complaints. And tonight, they're up 2-0. Jake Bowers is up. There we go. The only thing I wish we could have done tonight is I wish they could have gave Tobias one more inning, let him start the sixth. If he has trouble, then you can yank him out with your bullpen. But again, I get it. You don't want him to go a third time through the order. He struggles going the third time through the order. But either way, this series has been exciting and stressful at the same time. And the Brewers are 3 outs away from winning their first postseason series since 2018. And I think I'm going to stay here on the show giving you live reaction and live thoughts pitch for pitch. So Bowers just struck out to end the inning, and we're going to go to the top of the ninth inning. Lindor, Vientos, and Nimmo, the top of the order for the Mets, coming into the top of the ninth inning with the Mets down 2-0. And do they put Freddie Peralta in for a second inning? Probably not. It's Devin Williams time. Let's be serious. I was just saying, do they put Freddie Peralta back out there? But ultimately, it's Devin frickin' Williams time. It really is. Devin Williams has been great for this team, and I'm super pumped to see the Brewers finish this one out and get their first series victory since 2018. That was the year they got the year they got Christian Yelich and Lorenzo Cain. So, but Brewers 3 outs away from going to take on the Philadelphia Phillies starting Monday in Philadelphia. I'm going to try to stay on as long as I can. I have a 9 o'clock coaches interview I have to do for my high school broadcast, which you can listen to my high school broadcast on the award-winning 1017 The Truth every Friday night, the Marquette University High School Hilltoppers. Those are the game that's the team that I follow all season long. The Hilltoppers taking on Brookfield Central coming up on Friday. You can download the 1017 The Truth app to listen to it live, or you can go to the website and listen to it live anywhere in the country. And you can listen to all the past games that I've called on 1017 The Truth for Marquette, including a state championship game last year as Marquette won the state title over Franklin. My first year as a full-time broadcaster for a team. I fill in here and there. I do some color commentating here and there. But this is my first time being the lead broadcaster, and they go all the way to state. So can't complain too much about that. But back to the Brewers. Jackson Chourio, very special player. 20 years old, and he is just incredible. Devin Williams in the game, and we'll see if Devin Williams can close it out. But Jackson Chourio, just an incredible player at just 20 years old. Garrett Mitchell has a ton of freaking potential to carry this Brewer team from the center field spot. Mark Antanasio in attendance, sitting down right behind near home plate. Devin Williams can't hear the call put into his head. I can't hear it. I don't know what you're wanting me to call. I'm having a hard time hearing. The pitch comm, the umpire gets permission for a new one to be brought out. Yep, that one works apparently. I decided, okay, that works. The umpire's asking him, is that good? That good? Yeah, I think it's good. Francisco Lindor, 2 for 3 on the game tonight. He got base hits in his first 2 at bats. Really the only guy that did any damage against Tobias Myers. The Mets with 2 hits on the day, both coming from Francisco Lindor. So first pitch is ball 1, 1-0 count here for Devin Williams. Brewers 3 outs away from moving on to the next round. Nice fastball in there for strike 1, 1-1 count. The airbender, the specialty pitch as we call it, the changeup. Strike 2 on the fastball. There we go. Oh, streaming it on an iPad, and I thought my iPad just froze. I was about to lose my mind because can't have that happen. A lot of fastballs, it's looking like right now. Fastball, changeup, fastball, changeup, fastball, fastball, fastball. Really throwing the fastball quite a bit right now. And he walked Lindor. That's not a good way to start the inning. Now you're going to have Vientos up with a man on. So you got the tying run coming up. Wouldn't mind a double play ball. You got the 2-0 lead. Get a double play. Foul ball. Pitch one is a swinging strike. Fouled back. Nice changeup. Low changeup. Got to tip your hat to Gary Sanchez today. He has just been outstanding behind the plate. William Contreras DH in the day, having a sore knee, and um. But anyways, my TV for my iPad froze for a minute. But got to tip your hat to Gary Sanchez. He has just been in control of this game right now, in control of the zone. Has a 0-2 count right now against Vientos after now a 1-2 count. Try to get him to chase on a changeup down in the zone. Sanchez is just he caught a great game for Tobias Myers, and Myers pitched great. Deserves all the credit in the world with how he pitched. Tobias Myers, 5 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts. He deserves all the credit in the world for what he did pitching tonight. But Gary Sanchez has been outstanding behind the plate, and there's no denying that. He's just been great behind the plate. Vientos struck out, and now we have Nimmo coming to bat with a runner on in the top of the ninth, 1 out. Lindor stealing threat on first. Double play is still in play. 0-1 count on Nimmo. My phone's a little bit ahead of the stream that I'm watching it on, so I'm kind of torn. I'm going to get the alert on my phone first if there's any run scored or the Brewers get out of it with the win. So I figured I would just follow along. 0-2 count. 0-2 count now on Nimmo. My TV or my iPad has frozen. Okay, now we have a base hit. No run scored, but we'll see how much damage is done on it. So we have runners at the corners now with 1 out. Pete Alonso up to bat. Quick mound visit. Alonso 0 for 3 on the day with the K. Double play still in play. Alonso doesn't run the best. Not really sure about Nimmo. Big thing is, got to get this out of Alonso. Preferably a double play, but at least get this out with no damage. Strikeout, infield pop out, shallow fly ball. What you don't want to have happen is you already had the go-ahead run at the plate. What you don't want to have happen is him tie it up or give the Mets the lead. Alonso is a very dangerous hitter. He was 240 on the year, 34 home runs as a career, 226 home runs for his career. You just don't want to get hit. Just don't want him to hit one over the fence. First pitch is a changeup in for a called strike, just down the heart, just down the meat of the plate. Dangerous pitch to throw, but nonetheless got it through there. Second pitch is ball 1, so 1-1 on Alonso. Two-one count on Pete Alonso. Don't want to be behind Alonso here. Don't want to fall behind 3-1. Fell behind 3-1. About to load the bases. Definitely don't want to do. Lonzo's either going to smack a 3-run home run or you're going to walk him. Probably the only two things I see happening right now. Walk would be a little less painful than a home run. And he hit a home run. Mets now have a 1-run lead, and just like that, the Brewers are now playing from behind. Well, last thing you wanted to have happen is Pete fall behind 3-1 and have Pete Alonso hit one out. Now, best closer in baseball just blew the game. So, Brewers are going to have a chance in the bottom of the ninth to try to win, but unfortunately, it's very tough. Going to be tough sledding for the Brewers in the bottom of the ninth, as it's going to be very tough sledding. Yep. Anyways, I have a coach's interview for my game tomorrow to do, and hopefully the Brewers can come back and get the win, but I'm not holding my breath. This has been Talking Sports with Evan. I'll get back at you all next week.